Hello, everybody. Welcome to day 2. We're so glad to have you back for our college admissions essay series. And, we've asked the question, what was the most helpful, interesting thing you learned yesterday? So let's see some of the answers in the chat. I'd love to just read them and interact a little here. Lisa says, hi all, most helpful, interesting thing we learned yesterday is that college admissions red flags are possible. Dropouts, transfers, financial concerns, and students who won't pass and graduate. So based on that, our idea for a possible essay topic may not be the best option. Looking forward to getting some new ideas today. That's so great, Lisa. I'm glad you and your daughter are able to be here. Hopefully we'll give you some more insights and you'll get to choose your prompt and you'll get to kind of consider your topics and what you should do and what you maybe shouldn't do. Okay, so thank you. Ava says, it was nice to learn that colleges value people who enhance the college experience of those around them. Yes, once you start to understand that the value you bring to the college is one of the big things that will get you in, and we're going to learn today, get you scholarships, that's going to make a huge impact on how your perspective of your essay is. You're going to be writing from the correct perspective, which is the perspective of what colleges want, not what you want. And then Alexis says, learning to avoid any red flags in the essay was very helpful. And then she said, I will avoid talking about finances and any indication that I will drop out. Very good, Alexis. Do not do any of those things. Don't bring up finances. Don't bring up, ideas that you would maybe have trouble finishing. Mariana says, it was interesting to see insight of what colleges are really looking for from their perspective. It is, I think, the number one way to win admissions and win scholarships is to consider the college's perspective. I really think it empowers you to think differently, to write differently, and honestly, your whole application will look different than it would if you were just considering what you want to get out of the experience. Amira says, how easy it is to fall into traps that could get you rejected, like talking about financial problems. Yeah, that's huge. I mean, any of those red flags and traps we talked about yesterday, definitely you want to avoid those. If you missed yesterday, catch the replay, because that is probably one of the most important things you will learn about the whole college admissions process. If you have that under your belt, you are 50% more equipped than most students to have a very, very successful college admissions experience. Ava said, we should avoid indicating that we'll not finish college in any way. Family, physical, mental health, or even finances. Yeah, very good. Phoenix says, it was interesting to learn about how the administrators assess the essays they receive and how the things you think will be beneficial could actually put your essay into the rejection pile. I know, isn't that so crazy? I honestly, when I started really analyzing this and realizing what gets students in and what keeps them out, it's very mind-boggling, because as soon as you see it, you can't unsee it. It's like, once you know, you know. But before then, you're just kind of not aware of it. And that's the funny part, is it's a very simple, straightforward, logical concept, but until you think about it, you might miss it. So I love that you're here, everyone. It's so good that you're getting this info. Dylan says, you don't have to be special in order to provide value to a college. Yes, Dylan, I'm so glad you see that. Like, being special is not the same as getting into college and having a great opportunity to show value to them. The more value you can show, and it doesn't have to be from exceptional things. You don't have to be an Olympic athlete. You don't have to have a sob story. You don't have to have, you don't have to be valedictorian with this accolade and that accolade, and you traveled through the, you swam the Ganges, and you don't have to do any of that stuff. So, what's really interesting to colleges is, of course, the value you bring to them and their other students. This can come in a couple forms. We talked yesterday about raising their reputation, or raising the value of the student body, like we saw in the athletes, where the athletes were really creating an experience, an entertainment experience for the entire campus, as well as all the alums. So that's a really big example. You don't have to go that far to bring value, but that was such a clear example. So I love that, Dylan. I'm so glad that stuck out to you. Hillel said, the list of 20 characteristics to highlight but not brag about in the essay. Yes, I love that you said highlight, but don't brag. So what does that mean? It means that you must subtly expose those things by demonstrating them in your essay, but not directly saying them. Not saying, I am amazing, but showing them you're amazing. Arlett says, the value is demonstrated through the ways you enhance the experience for other students. Yes, a lot of students who are young, and this is normal for your age group too, so don't feel bad about this. This is actually a normal part of your psychological development. But when you're a youth, you are more self-centered. And what I mean by that is not in a negative, selfish way, but you don't see the outside world as much as adults who are 25 and older do, because at 25, both hemispheres of your brain come together and you really start to think like a true adult. And so it's not that you're like oblivious or anything like that. It's a psychological development thing. So the truth is that when you can start to see how your character, how your actions, how you affect others, not only does your social and personal life improve dramatically, but you also reach real maturation. A lot of students, struggle with maturity through college, and colleges are looking for those indicators that you've reached it. One huge indicator of maturity is being aware of the effect you have on your environment and those around you. And not only that, when you actually are aware of that, you're going to be more effective in all the things you do. So it's a double win for you. Okay, and then adjustment will focus more. Oh, this is how they're going to adjust their essay. We'll focus more on how aspects of character that brings value to this while writing the essay. Yes, character. To me, it's always the secret weapon of success in life and success in college admissions. Okay, so thank you all so much. I'm so glad you're here for day 2. I'm glad you got a lot out of yesterday. It's always nice to hear what things stuck out to you the most. And I see some patterns in there. So I'm glad that you all are really glad to know the traps and the red flags. That's great. Let's dive into prompts right away. We have so much to cover today, and I want to make sure you have plenty of time to ask your questions at the end as well. I have a question. When should we start writing the essay? That's a great question with you. Are you going to be a senior in a couple of months? Because if the answer is yes, you should start writing it now. So just so you know, the essay needs to start being considered and brainstormed around now if you're a junior. So that's correct. But if you're not a junior, starting in the summer is great. You want to have a lot of your essay considered through August. So we'll talk about that later too, your timing and everything like that. But this is a great question. And if I don't specifically answer your question the way you need it, then just ask me at the end. I'm a junior. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay. So read and understand the prompt. It's really important that you understand the prompt and analyze the requirements of the prompt before you go on and answer that question. There are often multiple components to each prompt, and one of the number one mistakes students make when writing their essay is they don't actually answer the prompt the way it's asked. We're going to look at the prompts carefully today. I'm going to analyze them a little bit with you, and then we're going to look at some things you should do and some things you shouldn't do when choosing that prompt. Okay, so let's dive right into Common App Essay prompt number 7 or number 1. There are 7 total. We're going to get through all of them in a quick amount of time. But if you do have questions, pop them into the chat as we go, because I want to make sure that you all, by the end of this, you are going to choose your prompts. So get ready, pay attention, okay? Some students have a background, identity, or interest that is so meaningful, they believe their application would be incomplete without it. If this sounds like you, then please share your story. Okay. So when you're looking at this prompt, a couple things to consider is that you do not need to do all 4 of these things. This says or, so you can focus on one and take it deep. Okay, so let's talk about some of the tricks of this one. Prompt number 1 is tricky because a lot of us, when we think about how we interact with the world, we live in cultural norms, and cultural norms are hard to break. Some of you might think like, I'm very unique and very different than society. But the question is are you actually different than your peers? Because you may be different than all of the adults in your life, but mostly high school students have a norm of their own. So if you look at your generation versus my generation versus my mother's versus my grandmother's, then we all had different norms growing up. So what's important to understand is that you should not be addressing a norm that or an identity that is very normalized in your current culture, because the college admissions people see these all the time. They are not novel or different to them. Okay, so again, we're looking at a background or identity and interest or talent. So if your background is not really that different, then it's probably not a great choice for you. If your identity is very similar to the identity of pretty much any high school student in the US, probably not a great one for you. If you have an interest or a talent that is not really unique, do you see that they're actually trying to find out ways that you bring value to the campus by being unique? So if your interest or talent is not really unique, this probably isn't the prompt for you. If there's no true uniqueness about your thing that you want to talk about, then this won't land maybe as strongly as you had hoped. Remember, the goal for the essays is to demonstrate value to the college admissions officers, okay? Now, if you do end up choosing a talent, that's okay, but just be careful that it doesn't turn into an accomplishment essay. Remember, we talked about accomplishment essays yesterday. Accomplishment essays tend to lack personality. They tend to not go deep and get into the personality side. So just be careful of that. You don't want to list your accomplishments. Also remember that your interests and accomplishments are in your extracurricular activities lists. So you really don't need to do anything special to demonstrate that you have talent and extracurriculars. So what I would say is, unless it's really exceptional, if it's already mentioned in your extracurriculars, you probably don't really need to mention it again. We're going to see an example of this today where I actually break this mold, where we do mention something that was in the student's extracurricular activities list, but you'll see why we did it. And then turning this into a story can be challenging for many students without it coming across as a play-by-play list. So remember this part, it says share your story. So they are looking for a narrative in this one, a true narrative. Okay, so if you are going to have trouble making this a story that really arcs and makes sense, then this one could be a little bit challenging. This prompt would likely work for what we will later talk about, which is the narrative structure. So if you are looking to use the narrative structure, prompt 1 and prompt 2 are typically the ones you would use them for. Okay, so choose this prompt if you are first generation. First generation means your parents are from different countries, or you've got something really unique about you that's inspiring, that really dives into your personality. So this is really how you do this prompt without it turning into like an accomplishment essay, or without you just looking like you're basically the same as everybody else. Okay, I see a question here. So if applying to a secular school is talking about a religious identity, okay, yes. We're going to get into religion today. There are some, typically I would recommend staying away from religion, but we're going to see today that I have a couple of rules around that. So we will get into that, Alexis. It's a great story. Or a great question. Okay, so here are the Common App essay prompts by popularity. Essay prompt number 1 is all about identity, and this essay prompt has a popularity of 19%, which means 19% of students who submit the Common App choose this prompt. So it is a very heavily used prompt, okay? So we're gonna see all of these as we go through, but this one is a unique identity or some kind of special background, okay? Common App essay prompt number 2. The lessons we take from obstacles we encounter can be fundamental to later success. Recount a time when you faced a challenge, setback, or failure. How did it affect you, and what did you learn from the experience? Okay, so let's look into this. I know we spoke about this a little bit yesterday, but let's dive into it deeper. Or more deeply. The lessons we take from the obstacles we encounter can be fundamental to later success. Notice that they do not care about the obstacles, they care about the success. So you really want to make sure that you are demonstrating, if you choose this prompt, and I've already warned you that it's not usually the best choice, but if you do choose it, then you want to be very, very careful. Okay, because you need to focus on the success it created and not on the obstacle or the challenge, setback, or failure. Now, it says recount one of those times. How did it affect you, and what did you learn from the experience? So recount means retell it. So they're asking for 3 phases in this. Tell us what happened. How did it affect you? And what did you learn from the experience? The caution I would say is if you do choose this prompt, how would it affect you needs to be in a positive way. Because if you start talking about the negative ways it affected you, then you actually are going to make 2/3 of your essay highly negative. That's a bad idea. Okay, so we see something here. Do you have a chart of what percentage of accepted students? No, that is not. I wish they released that, but no, I have no idea, Matthew. That is not something they release. He basically asked, like, do you have a chart of, based on the prompts, which students are accepted? Unfortunately, I've never seen that data released. Okay, so why is prompt 2 tricky? This is the most overdone prompt of them all. Even though it is not the most chosen prompt, it is the most overdone. And what I mean by overdone is that students rely on this prompt as a crutch, and they choose it even though they shouldn't. Okay, so your challenges also are not likely seen as real challenges by adults. So if you have a challenge that's something like, I didn't get elected to a class officer, or my parents got divorced. Again, of course, adults see that as a challenge, but it's a pretty normal challenge to experience. If you had a challenge like, something negative happened to you, it really needs to be something that an adult would clutch their heart over. Okay. And even then, be careful. We're going to see an example of this today. You can come across as sheltered and entitled if your challenge is a little bit weak, if it's not really what an adult would see as truly challenged. And you have the potential to annihilate your character and reputation with this prompt, because this prompt is a highly negative prompt. And if their first impression of you is a negative impression, it's really hard to overcome that. And also, there are landmines everywhere. We talked about the red flags and the traps and the potential pitfalls of prompt 2, as well as lots of other things yesterday. And this one has landmines everywhere. You do not want to accidentally step into a red flag because you chose prompt 2. So I really recommend being careful with this one. Remember, one of the top reasons that students drop out are health problems. And health problems can include mental health, can include physical health. So don't share mental or emotional challenges, even if they are in the past. So 14% of students say they dropped out of college because of mental health challenges in 2022. So that is a lot of students. This is becoming a bigger and bigger issue for schools as we go forward. So basically, any mental health challenge is going to be a huge red flag for colleges. So leave it out. Okay. If you have emotional problems, mental problems, I honestly suggest you fix those before you go to college, because they are very, very damaging to your experience. So, get the help you need. We have counselors at our company. We can connect you with people who will support you. We have therapists at our company as well. So we do the whole range of everything you can imagine for students. So if you need help overcoming a challenge, a mental issue, a past trauma, something like that, please get the help now, because you want to address these things. This is not something a college really is equipped to deal with. A lot of people are like, oh, well, colleges are getting better mental health facilities and having better, exposure to this and that. And it's like, yeah, but they're not actually mental health facilities. Colleges are places that don't really have the tools to equip themselves to take you through those challenges. So I really recommend staying away from these in your essay. Remember, the essay is one of the most, I actually think it is the most essential piece in your application. For the colleges that really use the essay, it's the make or break, everybody. Like, it really can transform how they view you as a human. And that's a dangerous place. And it's also a powerful place to be. Would mental illness be a no-go then? Yes. Since it's implied you drop out due to mental health. Yes, mental illness is a no-go. So if you are having mental illness problems, don't mention it. Don't mention a family member having it. Like, it's not great. Now, I wrote here, even if the issues are in the past. There's a reason I say this, because a lot of these problems that people have lie dormant if they don't get to the true root cause. So what I'm saying is, it will trigger them even if you say you overcame it. You're young still, and they've had a lot of experience with students who maybe thought they overcame a problem and then were put into a very stressful situation, and they had other challenges come forward. So don't mention it. It will hurt you more than it would help you. I want you all to really consider, why would you put it in an essay? I want you to put into the chat right now, why would a student consider putting it in an essay when they're trying to build a reputation for themselves at a college? Now, it doesn't make rational sense if you think about that, but why might a student include it? What are they trying to do in order to why would they include that in the first place? To show they grew past it? Maybe to get enough pity to be let in. That is my opinion. Yes. Ava, that's my true opinion. I believe students are looking for sympathy and pity admissions. The problem is that students don't realize that doesn't work. Sometimes if you are having a hard day and you complain to your parents, they'll give you a break from chores, or they'll give you a break from this, or they'll tell you, don't worry about that. That is not how college admissions officers work, everybody. They are not your parents. They don't love you. I mean, I hate to say that, but they're not going to have pity for you. They're going to be afraid of you. So just be honest that there is no actual benefit to you to including those things. So I hope that's really clear to you all, because it hurts you. It's not beneficial for people who aren't in your family to know about your mental illness or problems. It actually does not make them sympathize with you. It makes them want to stay away from you. So it's important to understand that now, because as you grow up into adulthood, you have to understand that that kind of I'm going to use the word victimhood mentality can really keep you stuck. And so now is the time, everyone. If today is the day that you overcome your mental and emotional challenges from this little pep talk, know that it's your job. You can do it. You can do this, and you can move through this, and do not ever, ever include it anywhere in your college application. I hope that makes sense to everybody. It's not to shame you. I get it. There are challenges. There are things that happen that really hurt, and you do have to overcome those things, but don't use your college essay as your therapist, okay? All right, choose this prompt if you are working with an expert. That's basically my number one advice. If you're going to work with prompt 2, you should have a college admissions expert who you are working with. And no, your English teacher is not a college admissions expert. So if your English teacher is going to help you write your essay in any way, I actually have gotten so many students who wrote their essay in English class, and we had to completely redo it because English teachers do not know what college admissions people know. So just be careful, because English teachers tend to be good writers, but they don't have the knowledge of college admissions and what colleges are looking for. If they came to this workshop, it'd probably be very helpful to them before they help students with their essays. If you are working with an expert, you need to have actually overcome these challenges and be able to articulate that without sounding like a victim. This is one of the most challenging things that you will experience. But honestly, if you can do this with them, it might even help you get over the issue you were dealing with and get to the next step. But you need to have demonstrated, clearly demonstrated, not just from feeling better. You need to have demonstrated that you changed through a tangible result, and that takes a lot. So it's very interesting to think about. Okay, Common App prompt number 2 is the second most popular on the list, coming in at a whopping 22% of students pushing their uphill battle toward that college admissions flag. So we don't recommend doing this. I would avoid it. It's overdone, as well as it's usually done poorly. Let's look at a prompt 2 sample essay from the internet. Now, I'm taking it from the internet because we don't typically let students choose prompt 2. So, and the ones we do, they're very personal. So this one was already on the internet, so let's share it. At 6 years old, I want you to listen to this. We're going to read 2 big paragraphs from it. At 6 years old, I stood locked away in the restroom. I held tightly to a tube of toothpaste because I'd been sent to brush my teeth to distract me from the commotion. Regardless, I knew what was happening. My dad was being put under arrest for domestic abuse. He'd hurt my mom physically and mentally, and my brother Jose and I had shared the mental strain. It's what had to be done. Living without a father meant money was tight. I have to move my picture. Mom worked 2 jobs, and my brother and I took care of each other when she worked. For a brief period of time, the quality of our lives slowly started to improve as our soon-to-be stepdad became an integral part of our family. He paid attention to the needs of my mom, my brother, and me. But our prosperity was short-lived as my stepdad's chronic alcoholism became more and more recurrent. When I was 8, my younger brother Fernando's birth complicated things even further. As my stepdad slipped away, my mom continued working, and Fernando's care was left to Jose and me. I cooked, Jose cleaned, I dressed Fernando, Jose put him in bed. We did what we had to do. Okay, so what red flags are in this? Is this student triggering within his essay? What red flags are we getting from this essay? I'm curious what you think. I see in the chat here. It's a pity party. Ongoing struggle can leave college for family, finance, and mental health. Absolutely. Financial issues, possible mental health problems. They are showing that their family is dependent on them. Yes, 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 yes. Big red flags. Would I have let this essay go through? A red flag I see is they only have one source of income. So they could have issues paying for college. Yes. Now, is this a college mastermind essay? Would we let this through? Answer in the chat. I know you all know at this point. All right, and be honest with yourself. No, nope, no, no, and no exclamation point, no, no. Very good. Would the struggle be considered valid by most adults? Yes. This is actually a struggle that would be valid. Still hitting a bunch of landmines though, isn't it, Alexis? It's dangerous even if it's valid. So be honest with yourself, and I want to know your opinions, truly. How does this essay make you feel? Sad? How does this essay make you feel? Bad for the guy, but that's about it. I pity the person. Yes, I pity the fool. No, that's just feel bad for the writer. Yeah, me too. I really do. Now go even deeper. Like, how does it don't think about him for a moment. Feel it in yourself. How does it make you feel? It's like, are you like rooting for this guy, or is it a little bit uncomfortable? I empathize with the child, but it says nothing about their current character. Now, I did not read the rest of the essay. I do have to say the rest of the essay brings him up, and it's great, but this is the first impression. I don't want to be around this person. I know why. This sounds bad, but we have to be honest because we all have biases. It's like this person has a really bad family life. Like that's bad news. It's bad news. And this student is a good student, but it's bad news. Machiavelli, Matthew, that's such an interesting thing to say. Yes, Machiavelli, it's very doom and gloom, and it's scary. It's like alcoholism, physical abuse. I mean, scary stuff to be talking about. It's definitely uncomfortable. This is the number one thing I feel when talking about this essay is I started reading it. I literally couldn't read any more of it because I'm just a bit of a sensitive person, but I was like, I'm uncomfortable reading this. It feels a little too personal. Like I kind of feel like they just aired all of their family's dirty laundry in front of me. And it's like a little too intense for me. I don't know this person. It's awkward. And I'm just being honest. Like he's talking to us like our therapist. Yes, it's like a little bit awkward. So I'm saying this to you because you have to understand that the people who are reading this essay are also humans. So if all of us humans are uncomfortable with this essay, like I'm even like sweating a little bit right now because it's just awkward. Even reading it out loud to a group of people, I started getting warm because I felt like this is too much information. So I'm just saying that to you also, you understand these college admissions officers have biases and they are humans as well. There are a lot of red flags in this essay, but even if there weren't as many red flags, it's still a lot of information and it's awkward. Could he take his struggle and edit it into a better essay? Yes, but he would need to work with someone who understands that, look, this was posted by another essay company. So like, this was one they were super proud of. Maybe it got him into school, but I'm telling you that in general, this is not the way to go, okay? Because I think that this is dangerous territory. So if you are going to write a struggle, you have to work with someone. That's just my only advice. Otherwise, stay away from it. It's too easy to become a pity party. And I am so sad that this stuff happened. This does not undermine what this child went through. And it's terrible. But it's very uncomfortable for me as a stranger. I don't even know who this kid is. It's just too much, okay? So again, we're not judging that child. It's terrible what he went through, but it's just important to understand that you shouldn't share some things. It's just some things are meant for family only. What is the impression it leaves? What impression do you have of this person? Now, I know we didn't read the full essay, but just from, remember, you only get a few seconds to make a first impression. So we haven't even gotten to the glory yet. What's the first impression that this essay leaves? Very wrapped up in family life, not ready to be involved with much else. Interesting, Ava. I never thought of it that way. That's really interesting. I like that analysis. He feels like he'd crack under pressure of college quickly. Yeah, Dylan, I agree. He is a complainer. Interesting. I never saw it that way, but I could see like he's bringing up a lot of negative stuff. So I would wonder, for me, it's like, does he have the capacity to have enjoyment and freedom and fun? And part of college is to be free and to explore and to get curious. And so, yeah, it does kind of beg the question, is like, is he ready for college? Would it be too much pressure for him? These are things the college admissions officers will be looking at. If he sent this essay to a highly selective, ultra selective, top tier Ivy League school, I have a feeling it wouldn't go so well for him, unfortunately, because I'm sure he's a great student. Okay, that his struggle took a huge toll on his life. Instead of making him better, it's now crippled. Yeah, and we didn't read the rest of the essay. Luckily, in the end, he does bring himself up, but it's a lot of trauma for a young child to endure. So trauma dumping is all the rage. And then I said, pun intended, because we're clever like that. So definitely you want to think about what you're presenting to an admissions officer, okay? And remember, 22% of students are choosing this essay prompt. And what they're then doing is taking their trauma and dumping it on the page and then submitting it to applications officers and wondering why they're not getting the sympathy pity vote, okay? So don't go for the sympathy pity vote. You have so many great things going for you as a young person. Don't rely on your negatives to get you where you want to go. I feel like he could have set the context for the situation in a broader sense rather than airing out all the trauma he experienced and using the essay as a therapy session. Yes, Phoenix, I totally agree. I think he could have painted a similar picture without going so dark. I fully agree. And I think you are absolutely 100% dead on there. So I always say, save the trauma for your mama or your therapist. Okay. So do not put trauma into your essays. If you do have to speak about challenges, keep them squeaky clean. Do not air any family dirty laundry. Do not air out anything that will hurt your chances. Don't make yourself or your family look bad. Don't make your mom look bad. She raised you. Don't say anything negative about other people, but you can talk about challenges in a general sense without airing your dirty laundry. If he tried to balance the negativity with more positive outcomes early on, it would have been a lot less uncomfortable. I agree, Dylan. And we didn't even get into the end of the essay. I will send that out. Diona, can you make a note for me? I'm going to send it out. It's listed on the internet. So, I can send it to you all, and we'll send it in with all of the other essays we'll send you today so you can take a look at them. So yeah, if you want to look at the rest of it and see how maybe he tried to dig himself out of that hole, but I believe that that's a pretty deep hole to dig yourself into. So he has to have, like, in my mind, won a Pulitzer Prize or something at the end of that to make it, to dig himself out, to truly become the underdog, because the deeper the hole you dig, the higher you have to raise yourself to overcome that. Okay. Common essay prompt number 3. Reflect on a time when you questioned or challenged a belief or idea. What prompted your thinking? What was the outcome? So when you challenged a belief or idea. So here's why prompt 3 can be tricky. Most high school students have not gone through true personal development in a journey necessary to establish the type of self-awareness of their own beliefs. Most of us just live life believing that what we believe is what everybody believes. And a lot of you are surrounded by peers and people who do believe what you believe. So it can be a little challenging to understand if, like, your beliefs are actually how the world works, or if they're just your own perceptions. So this prompt is trying to get you to realize that your beliefs are not necessarily right. that you could break a belief and transform how you see, but it would have to actually happen correctly. Now, I'm going to say, hint, most of your beliefs come from societal norms of your age group. So again, I'm going to say that if your beliefs are dramatically different from your parents, that does not make them actually unique or real. What these college admissions officers are going to look for in this prompt is, do your beliefs break the societal norms of the young generation that you are in? So think about, and maybe even have some founding in the beliefs they have, because they have beliefs. And so you've got to be careful what you're writing about, because you don't know who's reading your essay. You don't know what their beliefs are. So, it's very important to really think about how to paint yourself well in this picture. Having ultra alternative or modernized beliefs probably won't benefit you if those are your beliefs and ideas. So I wouldn't write about those. You may think that you are challenging your parents' norms or beliefs, but it's not actually novel. People have been challenging their parents' beliefs for every single generation that has ever existed. So really what I want you to do if you're going to choose this prompt is you need to be challenging your peers' beliefs. That is truly where the gold is in this prompt. Choose this prompt if you have a deep level of self-awareness and are thinking and acting in a way that is not normalized for your age group. So for example, if people around you are all having a very similar perspective and your perspective is very different. Maybe you think like somebody from 1752. That would actually be a very novel way of thinking. That would be a very novel perspective and way of believing. So that would be a very interesting essay. And you have to be willing to dive deeply into your own thoughts and actions and use real reason to change how you live and feel, which means your beliefs paint your whole perspective of the world. So when you do change a belief, it would have a tangible result that affects it. Now, the cool thing about this prompt, as well as some of the others, is that this prompt, I believe in particular, has a deep level of self-realization that if you could actually work on this essay and fully do it correctly, you would shift your perspectives in a way that would totally transform your life for the better. So I love when we work with students. A lot of times, if we work on this type of prompt, we'll work privately with a student, because this type of prompt takes us to dig deeply into their subconscious and to really pull out the best thoughts that they don't even feel they're worthy of thinking because it's not normal for their age group. This is the true path to success too. If you think about it, what they're trying to identify here is who will be a successful adult. Well, they know successful adults do not follow the norm. They think not only differently, but for the better. So they're not just looking for you to be, gosh, I can't remember the word, but where you're like ultra antagonistic. And no, people like that don't succeed in life. The people who succeed in life think differently. They think not novelly. They think from a place of true virtue and character that builds relationships, builds success, builds their likelihood of succeeding. So I love this because we use this prompt as a huge way to create a personal transformation within a student, which is really fun. So this is a very uncommon prompt. Only 3% of students choose prompt number 3. And I believe this is a huge, huge loss for the students who aren't choosing this prompt. It's one of my favorites. Honestly, the ones that are the most rare tend to be my favorites because they're the ones that would take the most from you. They're the ones that would actually take you to transform how you think and view the world in a true way. So I love prompt number 3. I recommend students use it, but if you're going to do it, you need to really have reached a level of self-actualization and realization, which is hard to do at your age. So, work with someone who can help you, and just be careful with this prompt because it's got to actually do what it's asking, which is to show and demonstrate how your beliefs are different, and then to have like a real result from that. Again, none of these things should just be like, I feel different now. Feeling different is not enough. You have to change how you act. You have to change how you think, how you feel, how you act. Remember, thinking, how you think, feel, and act is character. The more positive you can build your character, the more you can think, feel, and act in ways that are going to help you succeed, not only in college admissions, which is great, but in life. So that's super important. Number 4, I think this one is my all-time favorite. It's new, and they replaced one that I really disliked. This one is awesome. I get so excited about this. I honestly could talk about this one for 2 hours on its own, but reflect on something that someone has done for you that has made you happy or thankful in a surprising way. How has this gratitude affected or motivated you? I want you all to type into the chat, why do you think they chose this prompt? Now, why do you think this is a new prompt? It's like, I think, a year old. So why did they choose this prompt? What were they doing? What are they trying to get out of students? Why is it in there? Curious what you all think. Let's see what you said. It's super positive. Yes, I feel like it combats prompt number 2. I honestly think admissions officers are so sick of reading prompt 2. They were trying to get people to actually be happy. And it's like, gosh, our society is so focused on negativity. What if we could all just like be grateful and happy? That would be really cool. It's super positive. The most successful people practice gratitude. Yes, actually, it's one of the reasons they chose this prompt to add is it was chosen based on research that thinking about, writing about, and reflecting on gratitude actually makes you happier. See what makes them tick as individuals and what motivates them. Yes, it's a great prompt after living through COVID. Absolutely, because a lot of people just, it can be hard when you go through a hard thing, and we needed to raise people back up because the negativity that was coming out of a lot of the essays, I think, was just too intense. I don't think the applications or admissions officers want to see so much negativity. They don't want to read it. They don't want to deal with people's drama and trauma and issues and challenges all the time. They want to see people overcoming. There's no negative part of this prompt. It doesn't say you had a challenge and now you're happy. It just says you are happy. And the interesting thing is, this is one of the trickiest prompts for students. It requires you to connect with yourself in a very different way than many of us naturally do. A lot of us, as we age, we get over this more and more, but there's a level of self-love that needs to be developed in you to be a successful human. And that self-love will be reflected in the ways you're happy or grateful. The more self-love you have, the happier and more grateful you are, and vice versa. The happier and more grateful you are, the more self-love you have. So they feed each other. They're a symbiotic relationship. So this really requires you to look at yourself differently. It requires you to open yourself up to happiness against a society that is pushing trauma and victimhood as the means to succeed. There are so many, I'm going to say it, this is my opinion, it's my belief, and I could write a prompt about this because it's not a commonly held belief. There are way too many people on social media, especially catering to young people like you all, talking about difficult things that should not be discussed. And this type of thing is creating a lot of victimhood in young people's mentalities. It's really important that your ability to overcome is way stronger than your ability to be crushed by difficulty. And honestly, I have to say this to you all, person to person, if you can't overcome difficulty while you're being held by your parents' container, you need to learn. It's time. You got to do it. I know this sounds like, if nobody else is motivating you to say to you, trauma and victimhood literally will get you 0 in life, 0. It won't get you into college. It won't get you anything. It might get you out of chores right now when you live with your parents. That's it. It will get you nothing else. There's no actual benefit to it. So it's really important to start to look at things from a happier, more grateful perspective, because when you do, you are actually free of all of those negative feelings too, which is awesome. Does the thing given to you have to be a material one? It doesn't have to be material. That's a great question. So let me finish the question. Does the thing given to you have to be a material one, or can it be an emotional, psychological one? Yes, it can be a psychological one. So the CEO of our company, I met him about 2 years ago, and we started merging companies into College Mastermind back then. And he taught me so much about business, and he literally changed my whole life, my whole perspective, everything I thought about business, about myself, about life, about the world, completely changed from the time he spent with me. So somebody could give you their time. They could give you their expertise, their advice, their kindness, their thoughtfulness. It does not have to be a tangible thing they give you. But when somebody does do that and you do receive something, you could receive it from something you read. It doesn't even necessarily have to come directly from another person, but that thing can really transform how you see the world. And when it does, it's so empowering and so amazing. Can the gift be advice that completely changed your perspective for the better? Yes, it can be. I received advice from a relative that altered the way I view the world and form opinions. Great, Phoenix. Would a teacher giving an unexpected compliment be okay for this prompt? Yes, Alexis, you would just want to make sure that it doesn't stay shallow. You would need to go deep into that. Okay, so think about that. Just remember that a compliment, yes, absolutely, but then really kind of dig into yourself and really ask yourself, why was that compliment so impactful to you? And you would need to take that deep. My initial gut to that is that it could stay very surface, and it could also end up being shallow. And what I mean by that is a compliment should not, let me rephrase this. This is delicate, so it's a little tricky, but I want to answer your question. A compliment need not make you feel better. It will not usually be the impetus for a real impactful change unless it shifts how you were viewing yourself so that you would no longer need the compliments from other people in order to feel good. I hope that makes sense. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, let's choose this prompt if you are a human. I believe there is no person who couldn't choose this prompt, and I think everyone can do a good job on this prompt. So there's nothing here that you would need to do special to pick this prompt. I think it's great. And the good news for you is most people don't. Only 3% of people chose it this past year. This was the only year it was accessible, but only 3% of people chose it. So this is the gratitude prompt. Okay, here we had the ideas prompt, here we had the challenge prompt, and here we had the identity prompt. Okay, so let's keep going. We're going to go through our last 3, but I'm curious if you have any questions or you're thinking anything or you want to share a thought, please put it into the chat now, because we're going to dive in and finish these 3 up. Essay prompt number 5. Discuss an accomplishment, event, or realization that sparked a period of personal growth and a new understanding of yourself or others. I think we can relate this a little bit to what we just spoke about, an accomplishment, event, or realization. So for those of you who are kind of talking about does it have to be a tangible thing? A realization might be sparked here, but it has to have sparked a period of personal growth, not just a sudden realization. So if you have the sudden realization, then there needs to be a period of growth that happens from that. So I also really like this essay prompt. I think it's another very positive prompt. So let's talk about why this one can be tricky though. You can easily get carried away talking about the event and lose focus on the personal growth. A lot of you may not always have the perspective of what personal growth is. So personal growth really means you are blooming and blossoming in your ability to interact in the world in a way that gains you positive results through your character building, through your correct perspectives, and mainly, and somebody asked this, I forget who said it yesterday, but rational, irrational. Somebody asked a question about, should we stay very rational? It's about your reason. Reason is the number one thing that will keep you growing personally. If you use reason to really grow yourself and make good choices, you will continue to grow as a person. So these are the things that need to be demonstrated here. Personal growth would not necessarily be like the compliment that we just saw. That's just a realization, unless it literally shifted how Alexis completely interacted with her family, her schoolwork, et cetera, et cetera. It needs to truly shift you and take you through Matthew, he just said, I use food to grow. Well, Matthew, if you use food long enough, you'll grow out instead of growing up. And I like that. That's cute. It requires actual personal growth to happen in a tangible way. Tangible means you have a result from it. This is not just an aha moment where you thought something differently. Okay. You've got to have a tangible result. That's true for a lot of these. It's like, how did you tangibly, and by tangibly mean you took actions that changed how you normally would act and you got a different result. You got a result as the result of what you chose or what you saw or how you realized or your gratitude or the happiness, etc. Okay. Choose this prompt if you have positively transformed your way of thinking, acting, or feeling as a result of an event in your life. We're going to see an example of this in just a few minutes. This transformation has a tangible result beyond feeling better, such as a positive impact on how you relate to others or how you relate to your schoolwork. Okay, so this prompt is pretty popular and I still really like it. Now, I think that this is a very upbeat and positive prompt, which I love. I think that it usually, as long as you don't fall into the trap of explaining the event too much, I think you can get a lot of you can demonstrate a lot about yourself personally through this prompt. So even though it's well chosen, I really like it. I think it's great. It's the third most popular. And for me, it's in my top couple as well. Number 6. Discuss an accomplishment, event, or realization that sparked a period of growth and a new, I think we just did this one. I think I forgot to write that in. Let's see what number 6 is. I'll be able to tell from the picture. Just one moment. Number 6 is oh, shoot. Okay, Deanna, quickly look up what prompt 5 and 6 are and tell me which one is which, and we'll get back to that one, okay? Number 7, we'll get back to this one. Number 7 is the prompt. Where is it? Here we go. It's share an essay on any topic of your choice. This is the most commonly chosen prompt. It can be one you've already written, one that responds to a different prompt, or one of your own design. I would say tread very carefully with this prompt. Here are some things you want to be careful about. Despite the prompt being very open-ended, it doesn't mean that you can just write about anything. You want to be careful because if you just start blabbing on and there's no logical sense to it, they're not going to get what they're trying to get out of it. The other prompts are designed to give admissions officers what they're trying to find out about you. So do you remember yesterday when we read the one prompt and someone was like, I don't even know what question this is answering. And I said, it's probably answering number 7. It's like, why? Because it's just really common for students when they don't know what to write about to just come up with their own idea. The issue is that there's no set structure. So if you are going to write about something, you basically need to write your own prompt first and make sure you follow that structure and make sure it's going to be saying something about your personality, about your character, and about the value you bring to the college. Okay, I see some chat, so maybe we got prompt 6 is describe a topic, idea, or concept you find so engaging. This is it, that you lose track of all time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Prompt 7 seems like a cop-out, Lisa says. Kind of, I think so. I think it's dangerous. And the crazy part about it is that it's the most chosen. I don't think there's any real upside to choosing this prompt, to be honest. I think it's mostly just riddled with challenges. I believe that this is not exactly the prompt you should be choosing. Could writing about how volunteer experience changed your perspective on life be a good idea for prompt 7? Honestly, Alexis, I think that would fit other prompts better. So I would just stick to one of the 6 prompts that makes the most sense. And there is one of them where it says an event or experience changes how you view the world. So, or takes you through a series of personal growth. So yeah, I think you can still fit it into either prompt 5 or prompt I'm getting all mixed up now because I've read too many prompts the past couple of days, but go back through. We're going to look at them in just a moment. Okay, let's go back to prompt 6. And so this prompt should say, describe a topic, idea, or concept you find so engaging that you lose track of all time. So it can be challenging to write about a passion in a meaningful way. So like if you're losing track of time, it means you're super passionate about it. Sometimes though, when people try to write about their passions, it can come across almost as like a bullet point list. So just be careful that you're not focusing more on the passion. You're actually relating it back to you and your personality and your voice and your perspective. Does that make sense to all of you? So don't get stuck and mired in the actual passion and talking about what you do with it. Talk about why, how it's important to you and how it's shaped you and how you view the world because of it. Remember, these prompts are not about your passions, your accomplishments, your abilities, your talents. They're not about other people. You know, they're not even about your family. You could choose family as an idea, as a theme, but it wouldn't be that you're actually doing a play-by-play of the members in your family. That wouldn't make any sense. We need to know about you, your personality, and your perspectives. Okay, and prompt number 6 is not chosen very often. So I don't think it's my favorite prompt. If I'm honest, my favorite prompts are prompts 3, 4, 5, and 1 if done correctly. Okay, so I personally like those prompts, but that is my personal opinion and experience with them. I believe they give you the most ability to shine your best self forward. Okay, I think this one is possible too, but you would really have to have some kind of talent or passion that would literally make time stop for you, which, you know, social media won't do. So you can't choose social media. So I just, you know, you can't choose video games. You can't choose things that other kids would be doing that it wouldn't really make sense. Okay, my brother used prompt 6 to write about his passion for Mandarin. Yes, that would be interesting. You can use Mandarin. That could be really cool. So doing something academic focused, intellectually focused. You know, the cool part about this prompt, let me read it once more. It says, describe a topic, idea, or concept you find so engaging. So this is really getting heady. It's really asking you to like intellectually talk about something that makes you so awesome that you don't even think, which it's very hard to tie those two together. It's like, I love it so much, I stop thinking, but then it's basically saying like, what do you think about? So that's why this one can be so challenging. But if you can do it, and if it's really a topic that's awesome, it's an underused topic, and I believe it could be very effective. I think Mandarin could be really cool. Can cooking work since it's an action? Yes, but just don't talk too much about the cooking. I actually had a student who did a soup, like making soup was one of her passions. She used prompt 6 a couple of years ago. And so we made it about making soup, but then we tied so much into her personality about it. Okay, so make sure it just doesn't become about cooking. Cooking is not the point. The point is you. Okay, these are great questions. All right, so we saw 7, and 7 is the most commonly chosen. So be careful of 7. I would honestly say the top 2 are my least favorite 2. And be careful of those. Okay. And then I like these 5. They're probably my favorite. So, and again, but this one and this one need to, well, they all need to be done right, but you've got to be careful. You've got to tread carefully. These 2, to me, I just believe they're big traps waiting to happen. And most students are falling into them. I also want you to put into the chat, if most students, we're talking about well over half, are writing, almost 2/3, are writing about either something random or about a challenge, it's like admissions officers are sick of seeing it. I want you to really think about it. Like, how much do they want to read about your challenge or your random thing that you came up with? It's like the prompts are designed to help you and to guide you. So just be careful. If you are going to choose 7, choose another prompt from something else. If you did Power of the Pen and you had an amazing writing prompt where you won an award for that great essay you wrote, it's like, great, take that, distill it down to 650 words or less, and you can submit that. I wouldn't just randomly come up with your own prompt. I really think it's dangerous. Choose prompt 7 if you are working with an essay expert, because honestly, I just don't recommend it if you're going alone. You are, and if you're certain that the essay will let the admissions officer get to know you as a person. Don't talk about random things. Make sure it gets to know the character, the personality, the perspectives, the ideologies, the principles, etc. Okay, guys, it is time to choose your prompt. Here we go. Here's all of them. So I want you to take a couple minutes. I'm going to set the timer for 2 minutes. I want you to really pick out 1 or 2 that you're going to consider using as your prompts, okay? Because I don't want you to leave here today without an idea of which prompt you think you might choose. So here they are. I will mute myself and you all will get 2 minutes and you can pop it in the chat and ask questions. And in 2 minutes, we'll come back and answer all the questions. Okay, so what did you all come up with? Which prompt did you decide you're going to use, or which 2 are you going to consider as the ones you're going to use? I'm curious. Which ones are we going to pick? Okay, 4 or 5, says Dylan. Great, love it, love it. Alexis says 5, my volunteering experience at a food pantry. It made me realize just how many people need help, some of whom you would never expect. Can be dressed well and still need help. They can look middle class, they still struggle to feed their family. It also helped me not to judge a book by its cover and try to implement little acts of kindness in my life. Love it. Matthew says 5. I don't know, Matthew, what do you think? 5 says discuss an accomplishment, event, or realization that sparked a period of personal growth and a new understanding of yourself or others. 4, love it, Phoenix. Maybe 1 or 4, Mariana says. Mason says 3 or 4. Arlette says 3 or 4. Rithu says 4 or 5. Ava says 3 for now. 3 for how I think social media is bad, but I'm worried it would make me seem standoffish and lacking common interests. Interesting. 6 for cooking, since I can tie it into caring for others and loving to learn. Interesting. I don't think that I think you could go for either of those, honestly, Ava. I think you'd have to just really tie it into certain things to make sure that it doesn't make you seem disconnected from your peer group in that way. But I don't think that that is actually a negative from a college point of view. Always think of things from a college point of view and you can't go wrong. Okay, Lisa says prompt 4 or 5. Allison is an assistant dance teacher and helps teach little kids classes. She wants to do psychology and can use her teaching and help the kids overcome stage fright to demonstrate her interest in working with kids in therapy. Very cool. Mariana Hart says, I have 9 siblings. Could that be something I could talk about for my prompt 1, how it shaped my identity and personality? Yes, that's a really cool topic. Yes, yes, yes. 3, 4, or 5 says, Ankita. So 3, 4, or 5, reflect on a time where you question a belief, reflect on happiness or an accomplishment or event. Great. Yeah, I think any of those are going to be great for you all. So yay, look, you're making progress already. So what I would recommend is, especially those of you, I know we have some people who are not juniors here, but those of you who are juniors, like, now is the time to start getting clear on your prompts so that you can start choosing your topics, okay? So this is really, really important so that you can get going, because a big mistake, I remember yesterday when we read one of the essays, you were like, did she write that the day before? It's like, you don't want to do that. You want to spend actual time and effort utilizing this essay. And the cool part is you can really change your perspectives and thoughts through this process and grow and mature in ways that you wouldn't have to do if you didn't really dedicate yourself to this. Okay. So let's talk about topics. I promised you yesterday I would tell you some bad topic ideas, and I always try to keep my promises. So here we go. Let's see what's in the chat. Okay, Ariana says 1, 5, or 7. Great, Ariana. If you do choose topic 7, just make sure you're working with somebody who can check on that, somebody who has college admissions experience. In general, we believe most topics, now we're talking about topics. So the prompts are the questions they ask you. The topic is the topic you choose for your essay, just so we're clear. In general, we believe most topics are acceptable as long as they avoid the mistakes we're about to cover and they don't trigger red flags and they're done well. The issue isn't typically that the topic is bad. The issue is that the writing and the choices of how to express that topic are not the best, not the most effective, aren't actually what college admissions officers want to see. Okay, so let's see an example of this, how a topic can go wrong. It's a good topic, actually. So I'm going to read part of this to you all. And my mom is getting married. And at the beginning, the planned the plant-obsessed woman, and being the plant-obsessed woman she is, fresh flowers are on the top of her list as decor. Knowing this, I asked how many and how much she was planning to spend on them. As I'm reading, I want you to pop into the chat anything you think is either a red flag or a bad idea, okay? Being the financial advisor of my house, after hearing the number, my jaw dropped literally. I couldn't believe she was going to spend so much on flowers just for a night. I knew I needed to fix this. There must be a way to donate them after, right? Well, not yet. I called all of the flower shops in the area. Nobody does this. I even Googled it. Nobody in Arizona does this. I called the hospice and care centers. They couldn't help either, although they wanted to take the flowers, but weren't able to help with the donation part, needing vases and jars for the flowers. If nobody is doing this, what is happening with all those flowers from the 3 weddings that were happening just that weekend at the same hotel as my mom's? What about all the events using flowers? I did the math, saying that there were 96 weddings a day, which goes to 35,000 weddings in Arizona that flowers are being wasted at. If anyone had the opportunity to donate their extra flowers after an event or wedding, they would, because not only are you feeling better about the cost that you spent on them, but you are able to share the same joy they gave you with someone else. I have an aunt who's in a care home, and I know how lonely it gets in there, and the simplest acts can make the biggest difference for people in there. And after my mom's wedding, we were able to regift her flowers to our nearby elderly home. The clergywoman expressed how they had a new member join their facility and wanted to bring her some of her, sorry, I'm like tripping over my words right now, and wanted to bring her some of our flowers as a warm welcome. Now you could tell that person who donated those flowers Now, if you could tell that person who donated those flowers, everyone would. You are getting 2 for the price of 1. I'm not really sure what she's saying in those 2 sentences, to be honest. I loved being able to help not only the recipients of the flowers, but also my mom as the donor. She felt good about giving back, and knowing the flowers would get a second life with someone else. I continued to stay in touch with the florist, scheduling any events where her clients were willing to donate, and Flower Power Arizona was born. I was able to get my community involved through donations from their events or people helping out, cut, destem, and bundle the flowers into separate jars. This is an organization that I am able to leave with my community after I am gone, leaving a legacy behind. Okay, tell me your impression of this student, and tell me what your thoughts are of this student, and give me a little bit of insight here. Let's see. So financial problems. Interesting. The funny part is this student did not have financial problems, but she almost acted like she did, which is crazy. Her family did not have financial problems. Why is a kid the financial advisor? That's a good question, Ava. And that doesn't bother me, but she would have to be more clear on what that means. I don't know what the financial advisor being a kid means, but I like that question, Ava. Finance, yes. Focusing on someone else. Yeah, interesting. I see that too. Also, if they're that worried about flowers, yes, it shows they come from privilege, but at least they're trying to find a better way to get rid of them. They shouldn't talk about how much they are worried about the price of the flowers. Shows the author is being analytical, which is good, but so much about others. Yes, never with her peers. Yeah, she seems to have written the essay in a very informal style, not very maturely. Bad sentence structure. Yes, Lisa, this actually is not a well-written essay. Nothing against this girl. I loved the concepts in here. The sentence structure was not right. The thoughts were not fully developed. And this was a rough draft. So this was supposed to not be fully developed. Okay, kind of shows that the kid's mom isn't super reasonable, but it's nice that they started a business. Yeah, it wasn't a business. It was actually a charity, but that wasn't even clear here, was it? She talks about something she did, but not her as a person. Yes, the essay didn't make me care about the topic or outcome. I feel as though she could talk about how starting this charity changed her as a person. Yes, yes, yes. Here's my question for you all. So when we look at this essay, we already saw the impressions. What other impressions? We've talked a lot about the red flags. What other impressions? And the other question I have is this an essay you think would get a student into a top tier university or an Ivy League or get them massive scholarships? If so, why? If not, why not? I'm really curious what you all think. What's the impression you had? And what do you think? Do you think that this student will get accepted? Let's hear your thoughts. I love seeing what you all have to say. It sounds too informal to be an Ivy League essay. Interesting, Alexis. Yeah, I agree. It's a little bit incohesive in terms of its organization. Do you remember earlier we talked about the academic fit? This is one of the ways Ivy League people decide and top tier universities decide if you are actually an academic fit, because good grades are easy to get nowadays. So they're scanning your essay, which is why the essay is so important. If you're looking to get into a top tier Ivy League selective, highly selective type of school, this essay wouldn't get her into a top tier school due to how it's written. She'd probably get a philanthropic scholarship or whatever and get into a less selective university. But, and that's what Ava said. I agree, Ava. I think that she definitely could get, this would be a great scholarship essay if you're going for outside scholarships for like a philanthropic experience to get some extra scholarships. But yeah, I think in terms of getting in, it's a little bit rough. Okay, so now let's go back to the essay once it was transformed. So this student was enrolled in our College Mastermind group application program last summer. She did our hybrid program, which gave her a couple of private sessions as well. But let's see what happened to her essay once she transformed it. Okay, so here we go. So take 2, her final personal statement. Flowers are the finishing touch to many important life events. From a practical standpoint, their short lifespan and high expense could cause them to be considered unnecessary. Notice how we transformed it from her opinion of it being too expensive to somebody might think that. However, most weddings are not complete without them. Last November, my mother's wedding was no exception. She had flower arrangements everywhere. The bountiful white bouquets matched her gown and contrasted with the Sonoran mountain backdrop. I was curious as to what would happen to the flowers after the ceremony. To my amazement, most flowers are simply thrown away well before their petals are wilted and their leaves have died. There were no organizations in Arizona that repurposed or redistributed flowers for others to enjoy. Hence, Flower Power AZ was born. It is, notice how we actually ended up putting that into one word because we were trying to keep the word count low. Okay. It is a charity organization that I founded focused on collecting, rebundling, and delivering donated special occasion flowers for others to enjoy. I support our expanding volunteer team as we remove the arrangements, provide new containers, and deliver flowers to elderly care centers, hospice facilities, and shelters. We initially partnered with organizations where people are struggling or feeling lonely. Flowers can remind people of a special moment in their life, igniting their senses and good memories. Immediately, what's your impression of this student from the first 2 paragraphs? Start to put it in. When members of Flower Power AZ show up in a hospital or an adult living center, magic happens. I see people who are drowning in hardship and adversity break out into large, genuine smiles when they see a bright bouquet. In addition, our volunteers experience the same level of joy. It is truly the intersection of giving and receiving. The people who hosted the event also feel a sense of paying it forward. Small, thoughtful gestures done today can bring happiness for others tomorrow. Again, what opinions are you forming of this student? Now, she's not talking about herself, but we're learning a lot about her through this talking. We have served 5 events so far this year, and Flower Power AZ is ramped up with even more volunteers to handle our first full Arizona wedding season from October to April. In addition, I want this to continue once I graduate. Some of our volunteers have already agreed to take this over when I go to college. Why do you think colleges would love this sentence? I'm curious what you all think. I'm going to bold it for you. In the future, I look forward to checking in on Flower Power AZ as well as this sentence. It's my hope that the legacy and impact will continue for years to come, and I will do what's necessary to support its preservation. And why this sentence would be very, very appealing to colleges. As soon as flowers are cut, there is only a finite amount of time to enjoy them. Similar to our lives, we must stay present and learn to appreciate the beauty that surrounds us. The fact that this project has been able to affect so many different people has given me a good sense of reality. Living in my own bubble is limited, so being surrounded by and involved with different types of people make me appreciate the way I live. Why do you think sentences like this would be good? This is more than just flowers. It is a way of bringing people together through goodness. This project has given me a growing awareness of balancing both enjoyment and practicality. It has shown me that I haven't been living a completely balanced life in high school. Being involved in many activities, my default has been accomplishing goals, tasks, and assignments. This was very evident through her extracurriculars, her grades, and everything else. Super strong student. In short, function and practicality have dominated my life, finding myself swept away in the push for success. Flower Power AZ has opened my eyes to more. Why do you think this might be really interesting? I find myself happier and more content, knowing I am improving my community. I've been able to enjoy the process, allowing my creative side to design the bouquets with a variety of flowers. Watching it all come together is so rewarding. The urge to obsess over my daily to-do list is omnipresent, but now I have more balanced perspective. One of the gifts my organization has given me is learning to stop and smell the roses, which is now part of the person of who I am as a person. I want you to give me your impression. I want you to tell me how we transformed this into something that really changes this whole topic. Engaging, cool, love it. The focus is not on the flowers, but on the charity that was created. Yes. Why was that so important? It's way better written. Yes, it is very much better written. So very much. I can really tell that this person is caring and compassionate and has a deep passion for helping others. And that was actually true. So the crazy thing is we can't make stuff up. None of this was made up. None of this was altered. It was just that we actually drew it out of her. And also, I will say, we did not write this. We do not write essays for students. I'm going to say that to you now because the truth is if you can't get in on your own abilities, then you can't get in. But we were very careful about each line being impactful. Each line, remember before I told you, we scan each line. Every single line needs to add something. Loyalty. Yes. Okay. So now let's go back. I asked some questions, right? I want to continue once I graduate. I asked, why did this matter? Why do schools care about loyalty? Think about this. I will do whatever is necessary to support its preservation. We actually talked about the traps with her and the things that colleges want. This is one of the things colleges want. Who has it? Who knows it? We talked about the things that make you a success to college yesterday. Who knows which one this is hitting? Alumni support. Yes, we said that one of the reasons colleges think you're successful is if you give money to them later. We basically were like, so I worked personally with this student actually last year. And I said to her, like, are you going to come back and check in on people when you come back from school in the fall? And she said, yes. I said, great. So why do you think a college might care about that? And we had already talked about the successful things colleges care about. And she was like, oh, so again, these are the things that if you add them into your essays, they're huge for colleges. Living in my own bubble is limited. So this one, why is this one good? It's like, gosh, it really shows a lot about her. Okay, so let's go back because I don't want to imply she'll go and stay at college instead of going home. Yes, she also has no plans of coming home and running this. It's like she handed it off to someone else. What does her also handing it off to someone else show? Because I think that demonstrates a really good, successful character quality. She outlines how her organization helps others. Yes, she focuses on others, but not in a way that detracts from her personality and her goodness. Her focus on others in this essay does not dilute her personality. That's really important to understand. Do you see, though, that she's not sitting there going, I'm a very generous person. I am a very kind person. I am very thoughtful. You see, she's demonstrating that through how she writes about it. If they check back on the charity, they might check back on the college and donate money. Yes, Alexis, for the win. Shows leadership and determination and commitment, things college application advisors look for. Yes, tons of leadership. Also, tons of initiative in this essay. Like she saw a problem, and most kids who see a problem, it's like, and she actually did this. I mean, we didn't make a single part of this essay up because I do not believe in dishonesty in your application process. But you have to think about it. It's like, this was really a beautiful moment. Does anyone know what prompt she was answering? I'm curious. All right. Colleges know she won't drop out and take care of the business. Yes, very good. Demonstrates likelihood to graduate without dropping out to keep the organization alive. Yes, maturity and self-awareness. I agree, Ava. I believe that this essay truly shows maturity, implies growth as a person as well as willingness to grow. Yes, revealed who she was bit by bit. Ava, that is so important that you said that, because this is a subtle reveal, and it's a subtle reveal of amazing things. Remember how earlier we talked about that student who just threw all of his dirty laundry out? Well, even if you're saying amazing things, you don't want to just throw it onto a page and blatantly let it come across. It can still be jarring. It's like a slow and steady reveal. And honestly, I think the essay keeps you engaged throughout it because of that. Alumni support. Yes, Lisa. It shows her ability to delegate, one of the most important leadership qualities if used correctly. Dr. Elzrani, you are 100% right. Ava Brock, she says prompt 5 or 7. Prompt 6, we'll have to figure that one out. It shows her ability to let go and move on. Yes, everybody. Okay, so let's go back to the prompts and figure out which prompt she chose here. There we go. So she chose the event, prompt 5, discuss an accomplishment or event or realization that sparked a period of personal growth. Do you remember how I said the personal growth had to be tangible? Tangible growth. Okay, so this event happened and created tangible growth that created a tangible result that resulted in something beneficial for her and her community and for people, now for a legacy. Remember in the original essay, she basically blatantly said that she was leaving a legacy. Let's look at the final sentence of her original essay. What do you all think? This is her telling us she left a legacy. Did she have to tell us she left a legacy in essay number 2? When we transformed this essay, was she needing to kind of brag about what she created? Or did it happen naturally? All righty. I believe that it was just obvious that she created an essay. Essay 2 was all show and no tell. Yes, that is it's a very cliched thing that you'll hear essay people say again and again, but I will say it for the 800th time if you've heard it 800 times. There is a difference between showing and telling in your essay. Showing means you are showing that you did it. Telling means you are saying that you did it. Okay, telling comes across as bragging. So remember, when you were looking for your values and the character contributions you're going to make to your college, you cannot tell them you're going to bring those things. You need to show them you're going to bring them. It is very clear to me that she is going to bring something great to the college experience. Okay, so let's go back. Came out of here for a moment. And here we go. Okay, impressions, I think we're clear. Are there any red flags in this essay? Was there anything in there that you thought like, oh, she tread an ugly line there? And is this an essay you think would get a student into a top tier or an Ivy League or highly selective, ultra selective type university? Why or why not? So again, I want to hear your thoughts. Are there any red flags in this essay? Is this essay one that you think that would get her in? Because earlier you said, no, it's not well written enough. It's not clear enough. And she really, I think we did 6 drafts to get it to this stage. And she really nailed it out of the park. Like she 100%, in my opinion, made a beautiful essay that was effective and clear. And I believe there were no red flags in this essay, truly. I could not find a single one and I scanned for them. So the cool part is if you said yes, that this would get her into an Ivy League or a top tier, you're right. She did get into an Ivy League or a top tier. This student is now heading off to her #1 choice this fall, and she was admitted to a top 30 college with an 8% acceptance rates for out-of-state students, and she is an out-of-state student, which means the likelihood of you getting into an 8% acceptance rate university is very low, okay? So she did it. That first essay wouldn't have cut it. She wouldn't be going there now. She did choose the hybrid option. So the hybrid option of our group class is where you do group with a combination of private tutoring. So she did that hybrid option, and I really think it paid off for her. We wrote an amazing essay. I'm curious if you all know, What do you think it takes in order to actually transform an essay like that? Can I just sit there and tell her the ways the essay is no good? I'm curious what you think. Like, how does a student actually go from essay 1 to essay 2 and have written it themselves? What would need to happen in their minds in order for that to happen? I'm curious, put that into the chat and we'll get back to it in a little bit, but it's really an important question because I think you need to understand what writing a good essay can really do for you in terms of your personality, your thinking, your maturation, your clarity of yourself, your personal development. A good essay could take 10 years of therapy and make it unneeded because suddenly you understand life, you understand who you are. And as you do that, you build your strength, you build your confidence, you build your certainty, and you can articulate that. It's a really important skill to have, especially if you're looking to get into a very elite university. Okay, so bad essay topics. We are continuing our thing. So originally, how we got into this was I said, there's really no bad essay topic. You know, you can take any topic and make it great. The biggest problem is that you take a topic and you don't do it well. So we just saw the contrast of the same exact topic done, you know, with a decent level of ability. You know, she still would have gotten into a college with that first essay, and the second essay done with exceptional skill and exceptional talent and focus. So if your topic lacks originality, though, it can be hard to grab the attention of admissions officers. Originality means it's overdone. So originality means it's not overdone. So if it lacks originality, it means too many people are doing those topics. They are going to see these types of topics again and again. So I'm going to walk you through some today that you should avoid. Okay. The sports victory essay is a big no. The mission trip essay is a no. The travel essay is a no. The sports injury essay is a no. The pet essay is a no. The grandparent essay is a no. These things are done a lot, but if you do want to choose them, you have to do them in a way nobody has ever done before. You have to do them effectively. So if you're going to choose an overdone topic, make sure you have help, okay? Then the second issue with bad topics is maybe lack of depth. So that was kind of the original topic from the essay we read yesterday, where she was talking about basically like her family didn't plan the pregnancy and her parents were old. It was just kind of like, it was a shallow topic that was a little bit negative and it wasn't going to take her anywhere. So just be careful. You know, there are some topics that probably just aren't a good idea. So the essay should showcase your ability to reflect on your experiences and provide thoughtful insights. Don't choose a topic that's going to keep you shallow and make it just a play-by-play of your thoughts or opinions, okay? It doesn't help you. Yesterday, we did see that topic. It was slightly negative. It didn't have a good place for the writer to expand her thoughts and personality. Because remember, your topic is supposed to expand your thoughts and personality. Otherwise, what's the point? It's like they're trying to get to know your thoughts and personality, your perspectives, what value you are going to be bringing to the university. I'm curious, pop it into the chat. The essay we just read, what value is that student going to be bringing to the university? I want you to know, or to tell me, what do you think? If you were an admissions officer, would you think like, gosh, this is going to be a valuable student? If so, what do you think that she brings? So examples of shallow topics are like the summer vacation essay, the fashion essay, the social media essay, the summer job essay, the favorite food essay, the TV show essay. Don't do that, okay? If you're going to choose some of these topics, do not talk about that thing at all. And honestly, most of them I would avoid. But like, if you're going to relate your life to a food, that could be interesting, maybe. I would just be careful. These are just overdone topics. They're shallow. They won't take you down deep. They're going to keep you on the surface level, and they're not really necessarily going to reveal much about you. Okay, here's a tricky one. Controversial or sensitive topics. Well, controversial or sensitive topics may seem like a way to stand out. Most of the time, this backfires. Admissions officers want to see that applicants are respectful and mature, and students tend to be very one-sided on these types of polarizing topics. Remember, Not everyone has the same beliefs and principles as you, and you do not know who is going to read your essay. In general, I will give you this word of advice. Adults tend to be more conservative in values than kids. So be careful. Okay, you also have to consider, where is your university located? Do they have core beliefs? Are they secular? Here's where we bring in religion, right? So let's talk about some things that can be dangerous, but there can be some upsides to some of these as well. Politics, religion, sexual orientation, mental health, trauma, controversial social issues. So religion, I think you can really do well if, this is answering the question that was asked earlier, if your school is a religious-based school. If you are going to a very secular school, religion may not be the best topic for it. If you are going to a school where those people are very conservative in values, religion might still work, even if it is not considered a religious school. So you need to look, like if it's in the heart of Texas and the school is ultra conservative, then talking about religion, unless it's a religion that in Texas is not as popular, then it probably will serve you, okay? I wouldn't discuss the exact religion, and I wouldn't mention religious figures. I would bring religion in as a loose garment that you wrap around to demonstrate your character and to let that unveil something about you. And you could choose prompt 1 to do that. Okay, so that would work, but just be careful and don't make it about the religious characters, because I think that there are people who, when they read certain words, are going to have visceral reactions. And that's just human nature. So you're going to be competing with biases. So just be careful and really consider the audience. In terms of controversial social issues, now some of these I believe you should never address, which are these middle 3 here. I don't think these ever have a place in your college essay because it's just airing too much information. It's like the TMI essays, okay? Politics, it would depend. If you're applying to Georgetown, it's a very political type school, okay, maybe that would work for you. That would be ultra, ultra, ultra specific and would have to, work in your favor. So be careful on that. In terms of controversial social issues, it depends on your viewpoint, and it depends on how you bring it forward, and it depends on the university. For example, I mentioned yesterday Oberlin College. I grew up in Oberlin, so I know Oberlin very well. Oberlin College has a very liberal point of view. So if you bring in a controversial social issue to Oberlin College, that might actually be a benefit to you. For the most part, I wouldn't do it, okay? So let's see. Now, there are always exceptions to the rules. And if you work with experts, you can take a lot more leeway because you won't fall into traps and we can look at them. I'm not going to share with you the transformation of this essay because we don't have time today. Let me check the time. Oh yeah, we definitely don't have time. But I do want to I'm going to send you this essay so you can see what I want you to see from this essay. We're not going to go through it today, but we will send it out in the bonuses today. So basically, this is a student who decided to write about George Floyd. And the original draft was messy. I'm going to give you the punchline that the original draft would not have gotten her into the school she got into because she was applying to, her top choice was in South Carolina, which is a traditionally pretty conservative state. And she was writing in a way that was very one-sided. What we had to do was transform this essay so that it looked at both perspectives. And as we did it, we transformed how she thought, and she was really able to bring a beautifully in-depth essay. The beginning of this essay, though, I'm just going to be honest, when this was her first draft that she sent to us, it was dangerous. It was treading into some ugly, muddy waters. If your essay is controversial and one-sided, you're gonna be a little bit, I would just caution you, work with somebody. So we'll skip this because we've been spending so much time, but I want to get through everything. All right, so almost all topics can be transformed into a winning essay, guys. All you have to do, so I don't want you to stress about which topic to choose. I want you to just make sure you're not falling into red flags. You're choosing good things that actually demonstrate amazing things about you. You're not airing your dirty laundry to the public, and you're not bringing in things that are big red flags to colleges. If you can do that, you can transform an essay in a lot of ways. So don't be afraid of that. So I want you to know who's learned a lot so far in the past workshops, the past couple of days. And if it is you, we need your help. We are going to be offering a $10 gift card to anybody who shares our July essay workshop on their social media platforms and tags us, or sends us a screenshot to show us it's on a Facebook group. Basically, we're giving this same workshop in July, and it's very hard for us to get in touch with other parents. We know that our workshops are really awesome. We would love any ideas. If any of you are connected to PTAs or have any connections with parent groups, you run a parents Facebook group. If there's any of you have connections, we would love, love, love your support to get this message out. If you'd like a gift card as our thanks, we'll send you a $10 gift card to thank you. And if you don't want the gift card and you just want our deep appreciation, we'll send that too. So we would really appreciate getting the word out. We know that our essay workshops are very impactful. We know that they help students to see what they need to do. So please help us, guys. If you don't have social media and your parents do, and they've got Facebook, please ask them to send it out. We will be posting the link in the chat box now, and we'll also post some instructions in the email we'll send you in the bonuses. So if you have not registered for our bonuses, you need to register now. And if you did register yesterday, you need to make sure you confirm your registration. So when you go to www.collegemastermind.com/opt_in, and it needs the www. So when you go to that, you're going to see the ability to subscribe. If you want the bonuses and all the essays we've worked through today, and you want the brainstorming worksheet we're going to give you at the end. So here we're going to give you a whole topic brainstorming worksheet that you can take and do for homework. If you want those bonuses, you must subscribe, because we can't send you emails if you don't. And when you subscribe, if you do not confirm your subscription, so these were those of you who came yesterday, some of you have this, I covered up your email addresses here. Some of you have this little timestamp, which means that you have not confirmed your email address, which means our message confirming your email address is probably sitting in your spam folder, which means you did not receive our email yesterday, because it will not let us send you one until you press that confirmation button. So make sure when you subscribe, you go in and you hit that confirmation button, because unfortunately, if you don't do that, you won't get your bonuses. We can't actually let you in, and it's no way to contact you to let you know. So please do that. Okay, do you want to make sure we get the links in for the bonuses? So the opt-in link, as well as the link for, I forget what else I just said. So whatever links I just talked about. Okay, let's talk scholarships really fast. We have to do this super fast because we have one more big thing to get through. This is the most important thing, of the whole workshop. So scholarships are based on merit. Merit is based on the value you bring to the university. Merit is actually a fancy way that they say that basically to say they're bribing you to come. If a college wants you, they're going to give you money to draw you in, to lure you in. The more value you demonstrate, the more they want you. This is the basic principle of supply and demand from yesterday. The more they want you, the more money they give you to make you come. The better value you show, the more they want you, the more money they give you to make you come. How do you show your value to a college that other people cannot do? Everybody gives a great transcript at a good school. Everybody gives good test scores. If they don't have them, they don't submit them. Everybody has this. Everybody has that. How do you do it? Essays. The essays are the most important part. Merit scholarships used to be based on GPA and test scores, and that's it. That is not true anymore. 5 years ago, I used to pull up charts of colleges and say, look, you'll get this much money if you hit this ACT score and this GPA. Not true anymore, okay, guys? So now how do they do it? Mostly through letters of rec and essays. Letters of rec are out of your control. Well, not fully. We actually work with students on that, but what is in your control are the essays. You have 100% control over your essays, and your essay destiny can impact your scholarships. We know that they actually bribe people to come to their schools, because we know that athletes get scholarships. Why? We talked about it yesterday. They have value. That value is desirable to the university. They want them. Well, athletes, it's easy for them to demonstrate their value through sports. Your value is going to be demonstrated through your essay. More valuable you are, faster you're in the yes pile, more scholarships you get. Some people say, well, Ivy League schools don't give merit-based scholarships. But the truth is that I have had students who have gotten merit-based scholarships at Ivy League and top tier universities. I had a student, in fact, who got a 50% award offer from Harvard and a 75% award offer from Notre Dame. Chose Notre Dame because it was a better package financially, and he's currently there. So he was an athlete, but also great letters of rec, great essays. We made him the whole package. Other athletes were not as academically savvy as him. We made him the whole package. He got merit-based scholarships. So all those people who I see on Facebook saying the Ivies don't give, it's like, I've seen it happen. I have had students get them. So I know that although it is not normalized, what they're saying is they don't give merit-based scholarships for GPA and test scores. Everybody has them. There's no way to differentiate. So how do they get the people they really want to come to their university? They bribe them. They give them scholarships. They won't call it a merit award. They'll call it a grant. Okay. So to understand how merit scholarships work, we must return to the law of supply and demand. The higher you are in demand, the more they will pay for you. And by paying, they mean give you a discount, because remember, you're the one paying them, which is crazy. All right, so a great essay is the #1 way to demonstrate value in your application. It is the easiest, well, the most challenging way, but also the only true way, because your activities aren't going to do it. Your GPA is not going to do it. You're going to be exceptional, yes, but how do you demonstrate that exceptionality? Through the essay. Did you see the first essay we read today? It was like flower power. She did great, but that second essay actually demonstrated the value she was bringing to that university, okay? So it's important. If you're looking Ivy League or top tier, you need to understand that they're saying what they want everyone to think. It's like Harvard gives no merit-based aid at all, right? And then here he says, thanks, but I've always been a bit confused. This is actually a law school term, which shows a few full rides each year, despite what their website says. Everyone was saying, yes, they don't give merit. They don't give merit. This was law school, but it's the same strategy here. They give it to people they want, but they're not going to say that. They're going to just give it, okay? So the work of writing an Ivy League or top tier scholarship worthy essay starts earlier than you think. So I know some of you all are on this call, you're sophomores, freshmen, that's great, because honestly, it takes some time. Building things like hook projects, if you don't know what that is, please come to our May 30th workshop. We talk all about that. So important. Scholarships are really, it's a simple formula. You have to follow the steps and you'll get them. So what makes an essay top 30 or merit scholarship worthy? It's like top 30 means top 30 university, by the way. It has to be awesome. It has to be well written. It needs originality and uniqueness. I'm going to go through these quickly. You'll get to watch the replay and pause it. It needs personal reflection and depth. It needs, I don't know, that shouldn't say originality and uniqueness again. It needs engaging storytelling. It needs curiosity and passion. It needs excellent writing skills. It needs contribution and impact. We saw those things in the second essay. And your supplementals need to be on point. Your supplementals should demonstrate a strong connection to you and the university, okay? We cover supplementals in our application group class, as well as essays. So in just a moment, we're going to get to our final topic for the day. But before we do, we have to tell you about one special opportunity. So we have our College Mastermind application group class starting August 14th. This runs every Monday for 9 weeks, and we would really love to invite you all to join us. So during this class, you are going to master your entire application. You might think that we only work on essays, but we don't. We do it all. You're going to work on your main college essay, and it will be done, and it will be beautiful. You're going to work on your supplemental essays. You're going to learn about the process to do supplementals. You're going to get private essay review of your main essay, and you're going to get ideas as to how to get the best letter of rec you can. We're going to actually do and analyze your activities list for you, and we will complete, now parents, if you're listening, I know, don't be too excited. We will complete your entire application with you, and you will have it done by October 9th, which means it will be done in time for early action, early decision, no matter where you go. Some schools have early action, early decision as early as October 15th. Your application, your essays, your supplementals everything will be done in time for that first deadline. The earlier you apply, the better your chances and the more merit-based scholarships they give. It does not pay to procrastinate. Early action is a great way to get more scholarships. Early decision is a great way to strategically get more scholarships, but mostly to get more higher level of acceptance rates. We also offer office hours. So there'll be 2 separate office hours on September 9th and September 16th. So you get 11 full sessions with us. And in the office hours, we will troubleshoot and walk through all of your personal questions. We'll have our experts there. We've got essay writing experts. We've got application activities lists. You'll be able to work on all of it, okay? So I hope you'll be able to join us. Deanna, please pop into the chat our application group class link if you can. We would love for you to join. And I'd really, really love to hear if you all have any questions about our group class, but hopefully we'll answer it. And there is a bonus, okay? So because you came, because you've been here for 2 days with us, and we love that you've joined us, we are going to give you a secret bonus where if you register in the next 2 hours, you are going to get 2 private essay sessions for free. This will go away in 48 hours. We will do it again in July. So if you miss the chance and you want to come to our next set of workshops in July, we'll have one more chance to get this. So you'll get 4 full days to try it out. But what I recommend is you secure your spot now, because we close once we reach a certain number, it closes and we don't open another section until we have enough students to fill a certain amount. So you want to make sure you get in, and you all are the early birds. This is our first time really releasing this. So we're so excited to bring you in, hopefully into our 2024 cohort. I will be the cohort lead for this year. Each year we choose one of our top senior level essay and college admissions experts to lead our course. And this year I am the lead of this course. So if you've enjoyed working with me, if you think I've got some great ideas, you're going to love coming into College Masterminds group course with us. And I hope that all of you can join us. Okay, so I know that you are here for the good stuff. So let's get into the last part of the workshop. We've got 10 minutes left. I know we can cover it. If you have questions about application mastermind, please, please, please schedule a private call with me. It is 100% free. Schedule it within the next 2 days. If you schedule it in the next 2 days, even if it's on Friday, we'll still honor the 2 free essay private sessions. So just make sure you get on the schedule. I can see when you scheduled. So get on that schedule and make sure you're there. So if you have any questions, you can ask me. Okay, and I'll look at the chat in just a moment. I do want to get through the end of this. I know we're wrapping up. It's Sunday. You all need a break. So you've worked really hard this weekend. There are 2 ways. Matthew, this was your question yesterday, and I knew it was at the very end, so I wanted to make sure we got to it. There are 2 ways to format your personal statement. Let's talk about both ways, and let's talk about the benefits and when you should use which one. Okay, so the narrative structure follows the hero's journey, which we're going to see in just a moment if you don't know what that means. Narrative structure is a chronological timeline of events. A montage structure are when the moments of different events are connected by a common theme. Okay, so today we saw Flower Power AZ, and we also saw, so Flower Power AZ is a montage style, but there was also a bit of narrative in it, but we did not follow the hero's journey, so it was more of a montage. Okay, so let's just kind of look today and see what we can see from these different structures and which one's going to be the best one for you. We rarely recommend you do a narrative structure unless you can actually create a complete hero's journey with your essay. This is no small feat. It's hard. It's actually better to consider montage if you're not able to do this. So let's look at the hero's journey real quick. Okay, hero's journey starts out with status quo. You're living your life, going about your business, and suddenly something happens. A threat, an opportunity, a problem arises. Some supernatural aid comes in and pushes you. And suddenly you are on a quest to overcome a challenge. The hero embarks on their journey and enters the belly of the whale, where they meet their first major obstacle. And it's hard, and it's difficult, and they can't do it. And then the challenges mount, and they get harder and more intense, and the suspense builds. And suddenly you are aided by someone helpful, and you start to finally turn that corner. And suddenly you are achieving the unachievable. You have missioned the impossible, and you have gained mastery of two worlds. You return home with an enhanced perspective and personal power. Basically, you have reached a state of self-understanding and self-enlightenment that has changed your perspective and has made you the master of your world. This is a challenging thing to do. Now, most of you might say like, oh, this would be the challenge essay. Yes. And if you choose this, your challenges, even though it's 2/3 of the hero's journey, this must happen in 20%. This part must happen in 30%. And this part, I think those are the percentages, 20%. And then this part, the enlightenment and the sharing, should be 40%. Okay, so if you're going to take the hero's journey, the challenges should be minor. Now, we saw that essay in the beginning today. He was taking the hero's journey. The challenges were too much, too intense in the beginning. And Dylan, I believe, brought up a really good point, which was like, you know, he should have brought in a couple of lighter points throughout that, so it wasn't so heavy at the beginning. Absolutely. So even when you're doing challenges, don't make it so diluted and focused in challenges that it starts to build a bad first impression. Because although we didn't finish that essay, and I will send that finished essay out with our bonuses today, although we didn't finish that essay, it's so hard to overcome heavy challenges in the beginning. Okay, let's see. The montage structure. Okay, most of you will likely use this structure. A montage is, simply put, a series of moments or story events connected by a common thematic thread. So basically, it's like an idea that connects in other thoughts that are unrelated to it. So it looks something like this. You have a main theme, and then you have little sub things that could relate to that theme. You don't need to have all of these. It's just an example. You might only have 3, okay? Doesn't matter how many you have, but you only get 650 words. And it is my high recommendation that you use almost all of them. The Flower Power second essay had 619 words. The first one had 492. So you have that many words and you need to tell a lot about yourself. So don't skimp on your words. At one point, we did delete a paragraph from the Flower Power essay because it just wasn't hitting strong enough. So don't get attached to paragraphs because you like them. If they're not serving the college's purpose, don't add them, okay? All righty. Montage example structure. So let's just go through this for a moment, and we've only got a few minutes, so we won't take long. This essay got this student, this is the finished essay we worked on. This got her into both Georgetown and Boston College, which are both some of the best schools in the US. Okay, so I'm going to quickly read through this. We won't take long, but I want you to understand that I told you that we broke a rule, and this is actually a travel essay, but we did it in a way that was really effective and careful. So again, if you're going to choose an overly done topic, work with an expert. My grandma and I sit together at her favorite restaurant for dinner. Weekly dinners and visits with her have become very important. And as I'm reading, type in things that you think are beneficial or possible red flags. Weekly dinners and visits with her have become very important to me and my life, giving me a chance to hear her endless stories and her a chance to get out of her lonely, empty house. Even through busy schedules, I always find time to see her and talk about anything and everything. Today, I was supposed to tell her about my upcoming trip to Ecuador and the Galapagos Islands, where I would get to walk on the equator and see where Charles Darwin got several of the ideas for his famous theories. This is a very interesting post here. Love to hear what your thoughts are on that. All of this would be incredible, but instead, I have to tell her that the trip is canceled due to COVID. The news of this cancellation was a huge disappointment to our entire class because we'd been planning for and looking forward to this trip for an entire year. Originally, when she wrote this essay, she said it was a huge disappointment to her. Why did we have her change it to this? This trip it's not easy to say that I haven't had many unique experiences in my life. I have been to 13 countries and 4 continents. During these adventures, I've had the opportunity to experience many new cultures and push myself out of my comfort zone. Why would colleges like this? And why would colleges like this? Since I was young, I have documented happy family memories through a detailed travel journal. Over the course of several trips to Canada, I braved bungee jumping, mountain biking, zip lining, and whitewater rafting. At 15, I went scuba diving in Bonaire after conquering my fears and joining my family to become a certified scuba diver. So what does this sentence do? Surfing was checked off my bucket list on a family trip to Hawaii. In Alaska, I was grateful for the opportunity to go dog sledding, ATVing, and ice climbing. Why did we change this word? I actually remember working on this essay with her. Why did we change this word to grateful instead of telling that she could do the opportunity? My passion for skiing has taken me to Colorado, Utah, Montana, and New York to experience the thrill of going down steep black diamond runs unlike anything previously encountered. While my trip to Ecuador would have been an amazing experience, I know that I will have even better adventures awaiting me in the future through many prospective trips and opportunities. This disappointment also allowed me to have extra free time to spend my time with family. And focus, I lost my place, at home and focus on school. I also got to partake in adventures in my own city of Cleveland, like walking around and exploring the downtown area. Positives are present in every situation, and this experience secured that idea for me. New opportunities, adventures, and challenges are present every day, whether in a foreign country or at home. Due to my travels, I now know how to take on these everyday adventures and be fearless to, adapt to, and be happy about anything thrown my way. For instance, last semester, I was able to take my adventurous open-mindedness and apply it all with my foray into virtual learning. This alteration in learning style is simply one of life's numerous unexpected changes. It continues to allow me and my classmates to have a unique senior year that other past seniors have not had and let us experience many different learning styles. School, senior year, and life are all about what you make of them. So instead of dwelling on what I am missing, I can take the time to cultivate my own adventure within my community and in my city as a whole. Immersing into a, quote, foreign environment right at home may prove to teach me longer lasting lessons than traveling all the way to Ecuador. What are your impressions of this student? I'd love to hear. Yes, it does show she's wealthy. We actually intentionally left that in because these schools, some of the schools are notorious for wanting wealthier students. Brings value through a wide variety of life experiences. Yes, self-aware. I agree, Ava. This essay takes self-awareness. Also, like obviously this was written a couple years ago, but I just love this essay. I think it's so fun. What did she do here? I really think, how many positive COVID essays do you think that they read in 2021? You know what I mean? Like this. Not many, exactly, Eva. Honestly, I think that she actually spun COVID and made it positive. Now, was that what her rough draft looked like? No. Okay, but that's why you want to be very careful not to do any pitfalls, right? So again, this is a montage example. Does anybody know why this is a montage and what was her theme and how did she do it? And also, what are your impressions of her? Did she hit any red flags? And was she worthy of getting into a great school? It's like, I mean, we saw that she did, so that's good, but I'd love to hear your feedback on it. All right, this is our last big slide for the day. In narrative structure, the story events connect chronologically. In montage structure, it's around a basic theme. The theme for her was missing her trip to the Galapagos Islands, and then how she integrated various experiences to demonstrate her like good, positive attitude. I believe that that was one of her biggest benefits was the positive attitude she was demonstrating. So, so that is the narrative structure, and the montage is really connected around themes. Okay, so I'd love for you, we're going to wrap it up in about 2 minutes. I always seem to go about 5 minutes over, so my apologies. We started a couple minutes late, and I would really like to ask you, what were your key takeaways from today? What did you learn that you didn't know before? And also, we'd really, really love your help advertising our event. I know that it's a big ask to post things on your social media, but please, if you do know any parents groups, any ways we can get the word out about our workshops, we would really appreciate it. So we work really hard to make amazing workshops, and we'd like to get them in front of more eyes because we think that they would be very helpful to others. All righty. So I'd just love to hear your final takeaways, and I'm going to go peruse the chat to see what I missed. It shows a variety of different travels as opposed to just one trip. Yes, I learned that mental illness is completely off the table. Yes, it really is. Easier than originally thought to take general characteristics and make them an essay. Really great, Hillel. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. All right, let's see what I missed, because I missed the, where's the link for the August to October application workshop? Great. So I think Deanna got that for you. Yay. I hope you'll join us. We'd love to have you, Amira. It would be really great to have you. We always have so much fun in our workshops, so it's always a good time. It takes multiple attempts to get an essay right, so perseverance is needed. Absolutely, absolutely. I like your slides about the breakdown of the percentages of chosen prompts. I will definitely choose one less used. Oh, I'm so glad that was helpful for you, Arlette. Great. All right. So where do we access the free private sessions? You will get them gifted to you when you purchase your application group class. So if you end up purchasing our application group class within the next 2 days, or you get on a sales call within the next week with us to ask us questions, please, Deanna, put in my calendar link. The sales call is absolutely free. You don't need, if you want to come ask questions about the workshop, see if it's a good fit for you, you're welcome to do that. And you will automatically get those 2 free sessions when you register, because I will know you were here, because I have the registration emails of everyone who is here. And all you have to say is, I was at your workshop. So, all right. Even those of you watching the replay, that's true for you as well. All right, guys, this is really great. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for coming today. Thank you for sharing your time. I'm not able to find the confirmation email in my spam or inbox. Deanna, can you make sure you get the opt-in page there? And Mariana, please send Deanna your email address and we'll make sure you get it, sweetheart. So I don't want you to miss it. Okay, creating an amazing essay is really a transformational experience. I think you all saw that it took a lot for us to transform those students' essays, but the coolest part, in my opinion, was we also transformed them in the process. And that's, oh, you're welcome, Alexis. I'm glad you're here. And that is one of the best parts of our job, is we get to see you growing, maturing, and becoming the person you want to be. The person you have to become to write an essay that's truly exceptional and that's capable of getting you into amazing schools, get you scholarships and everything you want, that person is going to be someone you'll take with you throughout your college journey as well. So it's really great. And we love working with teens, because we've been working with teens for almost 20 years now. I can't believe it's been that long, but really, actually maybe more than 20 years. So, so really glad you all were here. Please stay if you have any questions, but I will end the recording now. And thank you so much for being here. And we look forward to working with you all.